Cześć! It's Dorota. Welcome to Polish with Dorota. If you've been learning Polish for a while, you still might find it strange. There are two letters that we pronounce differently depending on the context, depending on the word. And these two letters are letters with so-called ogonek, small tail in Polish, and they are on. The A with a tail is on, and N, the E with a tail. These letters are pronounced in 5 different ways depending on a context. And today you will learn how to pronounce on correctly, and in the next class you will learn how to pronounce en correctly. The other video will be available in a week on my channel. But before we start, let's talk about pronunciation. Why pronunciation is so important? Because if you pronounce words in the wrong way, people will not understand you. Very often, language learners, not only Polish learners, but when you learn any language, you need to learn how to produce the specific sounds of this new language. And in the beginning is funny, strange, but it is so. Very often people pronounce words in other languages how they think that the words should be pronounced and not how they are really pronounced. And that's why they are not being understood. That's why it is so important to learn with a teacher who will correct your pronunciation. Of course, the teacher will not only correct your pronunciation, but grammar, will teach you vocabulary and tell you when you can use one word or another. And the best teachers you can find in my online school. If you want to learn Polish properly, just contact me. We will arrange a free consultation. I will check your level and find the best group for you. Link is in the description. So, because pronunciation is so important, I recorded also some other video lessons about pronunciation of different Polish sounds. You can see some of them here. All the links are in the description box. So go there and watch all of them, and today we will focus on pronunciation of this letter. These letters with so-called tail below are called nasal vowels. Why nasal? Because they are being produced sometimes, usually, with using of your nose. So one way of pronouncing this letter is to say O, not A, but O, and add a nasal sound. And this is on. Once I found this in the internet and I think that's very nice and very funny. So this sound, on, is only one of possible ways to pronounce this letter. We pronounced A with a tail as on at the end of the word. For example, when you have words like idą, będą, kawą, mamą. At the end of the word, you pronounce this letter as on. In some regions of Poland, usually on southern East, people pronounce this letter at the end as O. So, będą, mamą. This is a kind of dialect, but there in Eastern Poland is normal. For me, I live in Western Poland, I pronounce it as on, not O. We pronounce this letter also as nasal sound, as on, also before these letters. And here are some examples. Wąsy, wąsy. Brązowy, brązowy. Mąż, mąż. Gąszcz, gąszcz. Wąsik, wąsik. Gałąź, gałąź. Wąchać, wąchać. So this is one of ways to pronounce this letter. This is nasal O. So on, at the end of the word and before these letters. But actually, when on is followed by B or P, we pronounce it as om. Ząb, ząb. Kąpać się, kąpać się. If on is followed by D and T, it is pronounced as on. For example, stąd or trójkąty. Please think of your tongue, and the tip of your tongue is just right behind your upper teeth. Stąd. If on is followed by d, c or ch, it is also pronounced as on, and your tongue is close to your palate. For example, miesiące, miesiące. Pieniądze, pieniądze. Pączek, pączek. So the tip of your tongue is not right behind your teeth anymore. No, it's closer to your palate. Pączek, pieniądze. If on is followed by G or K, it is also pronounced as on, but the back of your tongue is up and further down. Just try to repeat after me. Okrągły, okrągły. Łąka, łąka. So it's different from on pronounced before, like miesiące, pieniądze. Here we have okrągły, łąka. So there are already 3 ways to pronounce this letter: on, nasal o, and on. We have 2 more ways of pronouncing this letter. If on is followed by sounds G and chi, and these sounds can be written in different ways, so you have it here. G can be written as D and Z with an accent, or DZI, and chi can be written as C with an accent or CI. Then we pronounced on as oń, oń. Sądzić, sądzić. Wziąć, wziąć. And sometimes we pronounce on simply as o, o. It happens when this letter is followed by letter w, w. This happens only in past tense forms of some verbs. These are specific verbs that end with onć in the infinitive form. So, for example, it will be word wziął, wziął, or zacząłeś, zacząłeś. So now you know how to pronounce a letter on in different contexts. You know that it can be pronounced as nasal o, on, either at the end of the word, like idą, mamą, or before these letters, like mąż or gałąź. It can be pronounced as if it's followed by P or B. It can be pronounced as on, either your tongue is a bit lifted. This is when on is followed by dz, c or czy, like pieniądze. Or the back of your tongue can be lifted, and this happens when on is followed by G or K. If on is followed by D and T, the tip of your tongue is just right behind your upper teeth. Also, it can be pronounced as oń when followed by G or ci, and if it's followed by w, then it's pronounced simply as o. Actually, Polish people might tell you that this letter is always pronounced as a nasal o, like on, on. Why? Because there is not much consciousness about pronunciation of these nasal sounds. It's not being taught at school, only at the university when you're studying Polish language. So actually Polish people don't know how they pronounce these nasal letters naturally. They might tell you that, no, of course I'm saying ząb, while when you speak to them, they will tell you, oh, ząb, boli mnie ząb. I have a toothache, tak? Ząb. But when they speak, they really pronounce these nasal sound as I told you. Today you've learned how to pronounce on, and in the next video you will learn how to pronounce en. If this class was useful for you, please support my channel. You can do it by buying one of my video courses. You will definitely benefit from this course, How to Survive in a Polish Shop. This course is taught in English. It has a lot of practical materials how to do shopping in Poland. But you can also support my channel just simply by making a donation. All the links are in the description. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video about en.